Today, we're looking at the Hollyland Lark Max wireless microphone kit, which costs $299 for 2 transmitters and a charging case. How does this kit compare to the Rode Wireless Go 2, and should you consider it for your content? Let's get to work. Before we dive in, I want to mention that Hollyland sent me the Lark Max kit for the purpose of making this review. However, I was not paid to make this video, and all the opinions I share will be my own. All right, now before we get into all of the testing and audio samples, let's just do a quick rundown of all the features and specifications and everything that's included with the 2 transmitter kit. This voiceover was recorded in the hi-fi mode, and you're hearing the internal recording with post-processing applied. The Lark Max 2 receiver kit includes 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, a charging case, and a weather-resistant case for the kit with storage for accessories. There is also a 1 receiver kit available. Everything charges automatically when you place it back into the case, and on the front of the case there are lights to indicate the case battery level. The battery life of the transmitter is about 7.5 hours on a full charge, and Hollyland states that you can get up to 22 hours of use from the kit by recharging with the case. The Lark Max uses the 2.4 GHz frequency band and has a line of sight range of up to 250 meters, and up to 60 meters without direct line of sight. The transmitters automatically connect to the receiver when you remove them from the case or when they are manually powered on. The transmitters include a built-in microphone, and they also have a 3.5mm TRS input for using external microphones. The transmitters weigh 33 grams and have dimensions of 48.5 by 30.3 by 19.37 millimeters, and they attach via clip or magnet, which is included. The transmitters also include internal recording at 24-bit 48 kHz and provide 8 GB of internal storage for an estimated 14 hours of recording time. Individual gain for the transmitters as well as the output level is controlled by the receiver. Both the gain and the output level have a wide range from 0 in both positive and negative steps to allow for precise control for many device types. The transmitter also has a noise reduction button to enable enhanced noise reduction, which turns the indicator light green on the transmitter. Recording modes include stereo, mono, and safety track, and the mode is controlled by the receiver. There are 3 EQ modes to choose from on the receiver. The receiver includes a 3.5mm output and separate 3.5mm headphone output to monitor while recording, as well as a USB-C port for charging and for use with computers and mobile devices. The receiver features a simple-to-use menu layout with a combination scroll wheel and push button, a separate home button, and a 1.1-inch AMOLED touchscreen. Other provided accessories include a 3.5mm TRS cable, USB-C to USB-C cable, USB-C to Lightning cable, and 2 dead cats for the transmitters. All right, now let's get into some testing of the Lark Max and all of the features. Let's start with some audio samples of the internal recording from the transmitter compared to the in-camera recording from the 3.5mm output of the receiver. So here's a quick sample going back and forth between the Lark Max internal recording on the transmitter and the camera recording. So we're in the vocal boost mode, noise reduction is not turned on, but we'll go back and forth between the audio recorded in the transmitter at 24-bit and the 16-bit audio that's captured inside the camera. And now we have noise reduction turned on, so you can hear the difference between the regular vocal boost setting. I do have an airport somewhat nearby, and there's an airplane taking off at the moment. So there you go, noise reduction on, and now noise reduction is back off. And now this is the hi-fi EQ setting. You have 3 EQ settings. You have hi-fi, you have low cut, and you have vocal boost. And now this is what the low cut setting sounds like. The low cut filter, I reached out to Hollyland to verify, it's set at 150 Hertz. So it's gonna be a little bit aggressive for everyday use, but if you really need to cut out low-end frequencies, the low cut filter should be pretty effective. And now this is the vocal boost mode, comparing it to the hi-fi and the low cut mode. Personally, I think this might be my favorite mode as far as just capturing high quality vocals while still retaining depth. But let me know in the comments which one of the EQ modes was your favorite. And here's our range test of the Lark Max. We're starting at a distance of 10 meters away from the camera. I will not be using the internal recording. I'll only be using the recording in the camera from the receiver. Noise reduction is not turned on. I do have the dead cat on, but here's how the audio is sounding at 10 meters away from the camera. And now here's a distance of 25 meters away from the camera. And now we've doubled our distance away from the camera from 25 meters to 50 meters. So this is 50 meters away from the camera, and this is how the audio is sounding. Now this distance is 100 meters away from the camera. The camera at this point is kind of a speck to me. I'm probably very tiny in the frame. To me, this is well beyond what a normal recording scenario would require, but here you go, a sample at 100 meters from the camera. And now we're at a distance of 150 meters away from the camera. And now this is a distance of 200 meters away from the camera. I'm not going to be able to test the maximum stated range of 250 meters at this location. It's going to be well beyond what the average scenario would require for sure. And now we have the receiver connected over USB to my MacBook. We're recording audio into Audacity. We're also recording into the camera via the 3.5 millimeter output because both outputs can be used at the same time. So in this setup, I'm capturing 24-bit 48 kilohertz audio directly into my MacBook, and then I'm also capturing 16-bit audio in my camera, which will be my scratch audio. And I could even have a third method of capturing the audio if I turned on the internal recording in the transmitter, which you should, honestly, because that's your protection against any issues with the wireless transmission. All right, a couple more tests here. We've got the Hollyland lavalier microphone connected to the transmitter now. All you have to do is plug it into the 3.5 millimeter input on your transmitter. And now you have a more subtle look, great for interviews, talking head shots where maybe you don't want a transmitter, visible on your subject, whether it's you or somebody else. Hollyland sent me a lav mic for each of the transmitters in the kit, but I should point out, it's not by default that you get the lav mics included in the kit. I have seen promotions on both Hollyland's website directly, they have their own store on their site, and on Amazon, where if you buy the kit, you get 2 Hollyland lav mics included. So if you don't see one of those promotions available, it would mean you're not getting lav mics included. So just keep an eye out for that if you're shopping. I wanted to include a sound sample of it because Hollyland provided 2 for me to test. And now here is an audio sample of the Rode Wireless Go 2 and the Lark Max. The built-in microphones are both running over USB into my MacBook now. For this sample comparison to the Wireless Go 2, we're not gonna use the in-camera audio because I can't have 2 of them running into my camera at the same time. The main thing I want you to take away is just the difference in the sound of the built-in microphone from these 2. But let's also talk about a couple other differences here. One difference on the internal storage in the transmitters is the Wireless Go 2 has a little bit less. There's about 7 hours of storage if you're using the WAV lossless format, whereas the Lark Max will do up to 14 hours of recording in the same format, lossless WAV 24-bit 48 kilohertz. But the really big difference is what you get for the price between these 2. The Rode Wireless Go 2, in my opinion, is just giving you the bare minimum you need for their base price of $299 because all you get is the 2 transmitters and a basic pouch to carry it in. There's no charging case included. There's not even these little magnet clips included. Whereas the Lark Max system gives you the bare minimum you need plus those extras, all for the base price of $299. So let me know in the comments, which one do you prefer the sound of, the Wireless Go 2 or the Lark Max? And now here's a sample of audio from the Lark Max going into my iPhone 14 Pro Max. I've got this in a very simple kind of vlogging setup, not on a gimbal or anything, just on a pretty basic little kind of a selfie stick style tripod, and I'm using the included Lightning to USB-C adapter that Hollyland provides, so I'm getting the audio directly into my iPhone over the digital connection. We're on the vocal boost mode, no noise reduction is engaged, and here is how it's sounding. And now I have noise reduction engaged, so this is what the noise reduction sounds like. Same environment, have a little bit of background noise from an airport that's not too far away, and now noise reduction is turned back off. So there you go, sample of the Lark Max running into the iPhone 14 Pro. All right, I've had the Lark Max now for about a month, done a lot of testing with it. Let's talk pros and cons. First of all, kind of a general pro here. The user experience of the Lark Max is, to me, the best I've experienced with any wireless mic kit that I've tried out so far. Hollyland took an almost Apple-like approach with this product, and by that I mean, first of all, it just kind of works. And also, at every step of the process of using this, they've done something to make it simple and easy to use. The menu on the receiver is one of the easiest that I have found on any of these wireless mic kits to use, from being intuitive and user-friendly. The next pro for me is the audio quality. As far as testing this against systems like the Wireless Go 2, I've also tested the Synco G2 Pro. So far, this has the best audio quality of any wireless mic system I have tried out. It's got a nice rich sound, a more fully rounded sound than the Wireless Go 2 or the Synco G2 Pro systems that I've tested. Another pro is that the EQ modes that it has, which competitors don't have, are actually useful. I think the hi-fi mode is useful. I think the vocal boost mode sounds great for dialogue, and the low cut, although it's a little bit aggressive for my taste, I still think it's useful to have in case you need it. You've also got 24-bit audio over the USB connection to a mobile device or a computer and the internal recording. I also like that both outputs work at the same time, so you can record the USB output to a computer or a smartphone or a tablet, while also sending the 3.5mm output to your camera as scratch audio, so it's always great when you can use both at the same time. I also think the battery life of the Lark Max is great. It's a touch better than the Wireless Go 2, and I think for a kit at this price point, it's definitely a reasonable battery life that you're getting. The last pro that I'll mention is another general one. I think just the value of this kit, what you're getting for the money, is really good. You're getting a lot for $300 here that competitors like the Wireless Go 2 just don't give you for the same price. Now, in just a moment, I will mention the Wireless Pro, which is the recently announced $400 kit from Rode. All right, now one thing I'm calling neutral here, and that is the range. So I ran into some dropout issues in a wide open suburban area with clear line of sight to the camera once I got to 200 meters, but I had a stable, solid connection all the way up to 150 meters. And then I did also do some testing in a more congested urban area with lots of residential 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi traffic in the area, and I started experiencing some of the interference and dropouts after 50 meters. But the two reasons that I'm calling this neutral are, number one, I had the exact same issues in the same testing environments with the Wireless Go 2. The second reason I'm calling this neutral rather than a negative thing is that for the average, YouTube content creation scenario, I honestly don't know how many creators need to use these wireless mic systems regularly beyond even 50 meters. Now, kind of a third reason that I'm not really counting is you've always got the internally recorded audio in the transmitter if you do have those dropout issues with the audio going to your camera. All right, now let's talk about a few cons. I do think that the low cut mode, the EQ mode for low cut, is a little bit aggressive, especially if you have a lower pitched voice. That's going to cut into those vocal frequencies and make your voice sound a little bit thin. In post, you can always apply a high pass filter with more precision and control exactly where that roll off is. Another con for me with the safety track setting specifically is that the safety track that's recorded at a lower level is only -6 dB. It's 6 dB lower than the main channel. It would be nice to be a little safer if you could set it to -12 or even -20. And the last con that I'll mention is just that the transmitters don't work with locking connectors. This, for some people, is a complete non-issue, and for other people, this is a big deal. If you already own a bunch of lav mics with locking connectors that you intend to use with your wireless mic system, that would probably be a deal breaker for you with the Lark Max. I do have a couple that have locking connectors, and neither one of them could go in far enough to be recognized by the transmitter. So if you were planning on using locking connector lav mics with this, that's going to be a no-go for you. All right, so with all those pros and cons in mind, who should buy the Lark Max and who shouldn't? Well, there's a few things to consider here, especially now that Rode has announced the Wireless Pro system, which ups the game considerably as far as Rode's wireless mic offerings. As far as comparison to the Wireless Go 2, I would pick this hands down. I would take the Lark Max hands down over the Wireless Go 2 for basically all the reasons I mentioned as pros. So the only reason that I personally would go for the Wireless Go 2 over the Lark Max would be if you're already in the Rode ecosystem using apps and software like Rode Connect, and if you have devices like the Rodecaster Pro 2 or the Rodecaster Duo. The Rode Wireless Go 2, Wireless Me, and now the Wireless Pro wireless systems, they are compatible with Rode Connect over USB, and they're actually compatible also with your Rodecaster Pro 2 and Rodecaster Duo devices. You can send the transmitter signal directly into those two devices without the receiver. So if you're already in that ecosystem, then I still would consider the Wireless Go 2, the Wireless Me, or now the Wireless Pro. But if that's not you and you're just looking for a high quality wireless mic system to add to your setup, I would strongly consider the Lark Max, especially if your budget doesn't stretch to $400. If your budget does stretch to $400, then you still might want to consider the new Rode Wireless Pro because that ups the game considerably and offers 32-bit float internal recording. However, if your budget is sort of maxing out at $300 for a wireless mic kit, I think right now you really can't do much better than the Lark Max. All right, so that'll do it for my review of the Lark Max. There are links in the description. I actually also have a coupon code that Hollyland was nice enough to offer. You can get 8% off if you purchase direct through Hollyland. I also have a link for you to Amazon so you can compare and make sure that you're getting the best price if you are interested in the Lark Max. Any purchases you make through those links will just help to support the channel. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions about the Lark Max. Let me know if you have this kit and how you're liking it down in the comments. If you did find the video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the Semi Pro Tech and Gear channel. Thanks everybody. See you next time.